If I get to retire, if I get 1 year retirement, I'm good.
You don't want to do that.
That's why I sit up front, so
Alright folks, it's 7 o'clock, so we'll get started, so we can get out of here on time. And I promise I'm not going to keep you long. I'm trying to shoot between 8 and 8:30. That's not long. I mean, you've been to county commission, I mean, come on. So we'll get out of here quick, I promise. First of all, thank you all for coming out. It's awesome to have this type of crowd for a meeting like this. Usually our public meetings doesn't have a big audience, so this is awesome that you guys have taken time out of your night to come out here. Greatly appreciate that. I know you got ball going on everywhere, here, there, and everywhere, so I know your kids are real busy. You guys are busy, so thank you so much, and I promise not to keep you here long. But this is meeting number 2 of what I'm calling the Union County Project Planning Meetings. And this is, I wanted to set this up so the community would be able to come in and have a voice on things that we're looking to do in the community. The last meeting we talked about the possibility of building a new middle school, looking at turning the old middle school into a recreation center, community center type thing. I'm going to go over and review all that as well as we go through tonight. Better late than never, right? Come on in, Doc. But that's the whole goal of this. I've kind of got an agenda I'll pass out, and we can go. Will you be my paper?
Yeah.
Andrew, Blake, pass those out for me. Just to kind of keep us on schedule here.
You could use better paper.
Hey, your tax dollars at work right there. We go for cheap around here, okay? But there's also a sign-in sheet going around. If you are a county commissioner or a school board member, don't worry about signing in. I've got your information. This is for the general public, so we can have emails and phone numbers, so we can get in touch with folks and kind of start email lists and things like that. So, of course, the first part is sign in. Again, just pass that around. Make sure you sign in, please. And I also want to do some introductions in the audience, and we'll do this really quick, just so folks will know who is here and what you represent, whether it be a sports team, if you're a commissioner, a school board member, whatever. So we'll just do that real quick. We'll start right here with the lovely Joyce Meltenberger. Go right ahead. Well, she's Joyce Meltenberger, and you are here because you are a...
I'm from the 7th District.
Right, and she's one of our county commissioners, and a darn good one at that. And her handsome husband right here, Jim, sat right next to her. Go ahead.
Are you going to say all that I said?
No.
Jimmy Carter, I'm the school.
Derek Williams, Union County,
Use basketball.
Josh Schwartz, Union County Little League.
Very good.
Oh, wait more, so I'm just here to see what's going on.
Blakemore's youth football. Okay, right here.
Jeff Brantley, 5th District Commissioner.
Jeff Riffy, I'm a parent.
I'm Nikki Lennon, I'm with UC Soccer.
Okay.
Sarah goes UC Soccer. Julie gets UC Soccer.
Benji Harlow, Union County Youth Basketball.
Casey Moore, School Board, 3rd District.
Andrew Reed, 6th District School Board.
Bill Cox, County Commissioner, 3rd District.
Danny Cook, County Commissioner, 4th District.
All right. And thank y'all for coming out. We've got our media folks back here, Aaron Nicely and his dad, JT. I said Aaron Nicely. Aaron Russell, my goodness, where'd that come from? Aaron Russell and his dad, JT, with Historic Union County broadcasting this live. And thank you, Aaron, for always doing that, and for our folks at home to be able to see what's going on, too. So, real quick, we'll do an overview of what we talked about at the last meeting. Blake, you're not finished yet. Pass these out. And at the last meeting, I didn't give out any type of paperwork or anything talking about plans for the community center or anything like that, but I wanted to do it this time, just to kind of give everybody an idea of what we're looking at here. And I'll go through this real quick. This is something that we talked about last time. A lot of you have probably watched this online and gotten a little bit familiar with it. And here's some more. I want you to take one and pass those around. That just gives you a little bit more information about it. But the plan for this is, and I've said it 100 times, I know, but when I was running for office, you know, you're going around, you're asking folks to vote for you, you're hearing the concerns of citizens, and the number one thing that I heard was kids have nowhere to go. Kids have no soccer fields, no football fields, somewhere to play sports, basketball. The community doesn't have anywhere to go or anything to do. So I kind of took that as, you know what, we've got to come together and get something going for our kids. Thank you, Blake, I appreciate that. And I think we're at a good point to do that. And the reason that I'm looking at the middle school, of course, the middle school is one of our older schools in the county. Most people went there when it was a high school. I went there when it was a high school as well. But the middle school is a big building, and not only that, but it's in pretty good shape structurally. And we need a new middle school because right now that one's getting overcrowded. Okay, you take the kids out, and it's a huge building that we could make use for something else. But by doing that, if we're able to build a new middle school, and then we turn the old middle school into a community center, a place to house some of the county offices, sports fields, things like that, I feel like the community would be more accepting of that because you're getting, basically you're killing two birds with one stone. That's the way that I look at it. You get a brand new school, a brand new facility that all of the kids in the county, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, will be able to benefit from. They're all going to be able to go through that school and be able to go to a new school. And we turn the old one into something that we could use. I actually was at a meeting a couple of weeks ago, and it's called the Asset-Based Planning Meeting. And we have to have these every so often for our 3-star status here in the county. And I actually brought that up as one of our goals. And the lady that was over that, she works for the East Tennessee Development District, said that there's a county, I guess toward the middle of Tennessee, that actually did this. They built a new school, they turned their old school into a community center, and they used funds from a grant that's called a Brownfield Grant, and I believe it's Brownfield. I've never heard of that, and basically what that means is you can apply to redo an old building to repurpose that for something else. And I kind of perked up on that, and I've researched that, and that's actually an option out there. A lot of times it's used to repurpose old factories and things like that, to go in and clear up if there's any waste and things like that, but it can be used for other facilities. So I thought, you know what, if we can find a grant, even better, you know, if we're able to build this school and, you know, redo this school a little bit, or, you know, just redo it to what we need for a community center. I mean, that's an option too. There again, and I want to say this too. What we talked about here tonight, these are just ideas, folks. It's just an idea that we're starting with. We just want to get the ball rolling on something, okay? So please remember that. Anything that we throw out here is just an idea, or it's just something to talk about. But I'll go through this really quick, and you guys have the map there in front of you. Make sure I don't leave anything out. Where's my other favorite place? Oh, they're passing around. We got them somewhere. Thank you, Josh. Just make sure I don't leave anything out. The county offices that we can move up here, you've got UT Extension, which is 4-H, Soil Conservation, the Senior Center, Maynardville Library, Central Finance. If we move Central Finance, Maynardville Public Library, and the Senior Citizens all up here to the new buildings, that frees up one whole building that the county owns, and you guys know what I'm talking about down where Maynardville Library is. And you can kind of see I've got them spread out here, there, and everywhere. But also you could include the election office in that, the veterans office, historical archives, the children's center, county maintenance can move up there. And I've got question marks next to the Chamber of Commerce and solid waste, just to throw it out there. It may be something interested in or not. But something else I think would be a great benefit to the county. If you look up on the top, and what I refer to as the hill at the middle school, those of you who went there in high school, it's the old auto mechanics section and things like that. To me, that would be a perfect place to house our ambulance service. Because right now, and Andrew not only is a school board member, he's the EMS director for the county. And right now he has 2 bays to store his ambulances in. And up at the middle school, I believe there's 6. Is that right, Jimmy? Up at the top, there's 6 bays up there, which would be able to house all the ambulances up there. Okay? Not only that, but you would have room for the EMS to have their day rooms and things like that. You would also be able to put 911 dispatch up there. And the sheriff's office, which that would, again, clear out another building because you guys know above the Little League field, that's where we house 911 in the sheriff's office. Move all that down. Basically, all the emergency services could move into that building up at the top. And then down at the bottom, you have some more things. School system offices, there again, I'm just throwing that out. I'm not even sat down and really talked to Jimmy a lot about this, but you know, maybe the Family Resource Center or something like that can move into the community center just to have, for parents to have more access. Other possibilities, the ECRA office, and also a community college. Walter State, Hill City State, Rome State, something like that. they're willing to come to communities if you have somewhere to put them. And my thinking is an old school, what else, what a better place to put them, you know? It's ideal, it's classrooms, it's what they need. Right now, we really have nowhere to put them. If they came in, we would have to open up our schools for them, but that's not their permanent location. They would use it at night, then the next morning the school kids would come in. You know, that's not ideal for a place like that. And also TCAT. You know, TCAT is a big push now. TCAT, Tennessee College of Applied Technology, to try to get one of those here in Union County. There again, if we can't find somewhere to put it, maybe we could find a way to house it here, and it's just an option. On the back, now this is where it comes in that a lot of you guys have some interest here. Okay, think about for youth sports, okay? And I put there no longer using schools, because you guys know, with basketball especially, you rely on the school system to open up their doors for you to use the basketball, their gyms for basketball. And I get that, and that's tough. And I know, Jennifer, bless your heart, I know you've had to deal with that for years, you know, trying to get that going, and it's tough. Because you got to think too, on the school system side, they want to protect their facilities, but also on the youth sports side, you guys got to have somewhere to play. I mean, I get that. I totally get both sides of the fence. But by doing this, you guys know the gym at the middle school is a very nice gym. I mean, it's a huge gym. I mean, that would be 100% available for all the youth basketball. Also, we could even volleyball. I mean, we don't have volleyball in the county. There again, we have nowhere to play it. I mean, that could be another sport we could put in there. Think about this. You will have technically 2 baseball fields because the school system owns the Little League field. So if we acquire this property back and the school system gets a new school, then we would have the Little League field, not only that, but the baseball field at the middle school. So there's 2 baseball fields. Maybe one for baseball, one for softball. I don't know, just an option. And football. You'd have your own football field down there. I know you use it now, but you're having to, you know, deal with the middle school teams using it and different things like that, so it would be open. And also for soccer. I know you guys I remember one of you guys called me when I was at Paulette and asked to use the grass behind our baseball field. And I felt so sorry for you when you asked, because I'm like, that's sad that, you know, you're trying to find a yard somewhere to play. Was it you that called me? I thought it was. And, you know, but there again, that's where we are. And, you know, it's nobody's fault, I guess. We just have nowhere to go. So that's what I'm trying to do here, trying to figure out what we can do and where we can go from this point. Then you have the auditorium. You know, I always tell people, don't count out the auditorium at the middle school. It's a nice auditorium. It was redone years ago. Regal Cinema donated theater seating in there. It's a nice auditorium. I mean, we could get a lot of use out of that. I know that Danny Cook and 2 other commissioners have started the Union County Opry. You know, that would be a possible place for that. We could have all of our county commission meetings, our school board meetings there. I mean, it's just a great venue to have any type of meeting. Concerts, plays, whatever. Okay, then you get into the rental area. If you look, it's basically right in the middle of that map. I basically put 6 classrooms, slated those off for rentals. And they're right there next to the gym, because, you know, if you rent a room for a birthday party or something like that, where do the kids want to go? They want to go to the gym. So that would be a way to get some revenue coming in for the use of that building. Also, you got to think, it's got the kitchen was recently redone at the middle school. Brand new state-of-the-art kitchen, the lunchroom. That'd be a great place for dinners, events, things like that. Right now, the high school is basically our event center for the county. Every time you need somewhere to go and have an event, you go to the high school. That's all we have. It's the biggest building. And then also threw this in here too. Think about this. That building already has internet. It already has phone connections, some furniture that I'm sure that would be left behind, intercom system, things like that are big. A fire alarm system, things like that are huge when you look at moving into a building like that. It's already there. Then down at the bottom, and again, I know I talked about this the last time, but as of right now, you all know that the county commission gives nonprofit sports some money each year. I know it's not a large amount of money, but it is some money. Even if, you know, looking at ways to fund this and get some revenue coming in, if we could take those allocations maybe for a couple of years and put them into this project, you know, to get it going, just to get it off the ground and things like that, that could be an option. I mean, that's some money out there that's available. We just reallocate those funds. An option there. Also, rental income for that. I mean, if we had, think about tournaments and things like that. If you host tournaments, you know those are money makers. I mean, plain and simple. If you use a facility, what we're calling the county union here is the name for it, the project name anyway. That could be a way for the revenue to come in to fund this building, to pay for the staff that runs the building or whatever. I just think there's just a lot of options here, just a lot of options. And, you know, when I threw this out here, I got a lot more positive thoughts about this than complaints. And, you know, you're always going to get a complaint, no matter what you do. People are not going to like everything. But I got a lot of positives out this. And that gives me a good feeling going forward that I think the majority of the community would be for something like this. Now, am I saying this is the answer to everything? Absolutely not. Somebody might have a better idea than me, and if so, let's go for it. Let's research it and look. But I think this is a start. And Dr. Carter and I have been talking about, you know, possibility of a new middle school, the funding, things like that. And here's kind of what we're coming up with on that. Next year, Union County High School will be paid off. So in the year 2020, we will make the last payment for the high school. And right now, the school system and the county splits that payment. School system actually pays a little bit more. School system pays right at $500,000. The county pays a little over $400,000. So we're paying almost $1 million a year for the high school. Next year, that's gone, okay? After that's paid off, the only other debt that we have in county general would be Paulette Elementary. We owe $3 million on Paulette. That's it. And if you really step back and look at the size of our county, the revenue that we have, compared to the debt, we're in good shape, folks. We're in really, really good shape, okay? We do have, I think, 2 other loans, but those loans are paid by EMS and the highway department. So that's why I call this general fund, because this comes out of the county general fund. That's it. After the high school's paid off, we've got Paulette. And if we keep the debt the way it is and we don't restructure anything, Paulette's paid off in 2026, okay? And I've even looked at the budget and talked to our finance director a little bit about, you know, what if we could double up maybe and get Paulette paid off quicker? I mean, you know, just again, throwing things out there so we could eventually be debt-free. Just imagine if this county was debt-free. I mean, we could turn around, if we don't have a high school, now this is county, not school system. If we're not paying for the high school and we're not paying for Paulette, which Paulette's another $500,000 payment a year, there's $1 million that we could put towards something. In middle school, something. We've got $1 million without raising taxes, okay? So I know, you know, everybody, oh, don't talk about taxes. I'm not talking about taxes. Let me zoom in again, Aaron, for the second time. We're not talking about raising taxes, folks, okay? I'm just throwing this out here, okay? Now, when I say funding from the county and from taxes, I want to educate everybody a little bit on how this works, okay? And I'm going to go through this quick, just so everybody knows. These are our tax rates, okay? Union County has a tax rate of 2.14. It's actually 2.1399. I rounded up to 2.14, okay? Basically, that's 214 pennies that we collect from the community for our taxes. Now, if you notice, I put all the surrounding counties around us, except for Knox County. I never include Knox County because they're a huge county. It doesn't matter if their tax revenue was $1, they're still going to collect 100 times more revenue than we are. But we're at 214. Look at all the others. Okay, you've got Anderson right next door at 279, Campbell 225. You can see, I don't have to read all of them. And I wanted to put this little blurb in here too. All those counties listed there have additional city taxes. We don't have any city taxes. 214 is our tax rate, period. If you add up some of those, I believe it's Anderson maybe, they have their county tax, plus if you live in one of their cities, they have a $2 and something city tax, so you're paying over $4 in taxes every year. So if you look at what we pay here compared to the counties around us, you got a pretty good deal here in Union County. Our tax rate's very low. I mean, it's very, very low. So I wanted to point that out. And again, I'm not saying this because I think we need to raise taxes. By no means I'm saying that. I just want people to see that, to kind of see where we sit. Okay? Now, when you look at this is something I had to learn when I came into this position, how our tax revenue works and how we get the money in. Okay? You have to look at the tax rate based on the value of a penny. Okay? So right now, our tax rate for Union County is 2.1399. I rounded it up to 2.14 just to be easier. Okay? So 1 penny in this county equals $31,557. Okay? So if you take 214 pennies times how much a penny makes, that's what we should collect in tax revenue. Okay? See, there you go. Okay? But that's really not a lot when you look at the value of a penny in Union County versus other counties. every county's value of their penny is different. Okay, in Union County, the value of our penny is a little bit lower, simply because of the industry we have here. We're a small county, we're a rural county, that affects that, okay? So every time, if you hear county commission say, we raise taxes 5 pennies, or we raise taxes 10 pennies, that's what they're talking about. Every penny we get into this county, that's how much money we get from 1 penny, okay? So if we were, oh, and let me talk about this too. Here's a breakdown of where your taxes go, okay? Where do your pennies go? We've got the fund, the percent, and then the pennies over there on the end. And again, it's a long decimal number because of the way it works out. But right now, 42% goes to general fund. That's basically 93 pennies. Ambulance 6, highway 4, schools get 35, schools get 74 pennies. Debt service. Debt service is the fund that we use to pay the Paulette loan and the school loans and things like that. And we have to make sure we have enough money going into debt service every year to make our payments. And then capital projects, that's a low number, but capital projects is a fund, the way that I look at it is kind of a savings account that the county has, that when we have to do a big project, fix something big, that's what we have that fund for, a capital projects fund, okay? So that's where your pennies go, folks. Now, think about this. If you were thinking that we wanted to raise taxes to make a payment on a school, okay? And you, like I said, you know, this year, or what we pay right now, we basically, for 2 schools a year, we pay about $1 million, okay? Look how many pennies it takes to generate this kind of fund, okay? If you raise taxes 1 penny, that's only $31,000 more coming into our general fund a year. That's it. 1 penny is $31,000. 5 pennies would get you $157,000. 10 pennies would get you $315,000. Think that's not a lot of money, though, when you think about, you know, the millions of dollars you have in general fund and how you are going to create this revenue. So I think that's important that people understand that when they see, you know, how much 1 penny brings into this county. It's not a lot, but just so you kind of get an idea of how that works. All right. Last time at our meeting, toward the end, I threw out the idea of Maynardville Elementary and the possibility of turning Maynardville Elementary into the county jail. Because right now there's a lot of talk going on about our jail being overcrowded. Usually our jail runs a population of about 100, and I think it's designed for 80-something. But you can do that. I mean, the state will not fine you or anything for overcrowding your jail, basically, and the state people have told us that. But there again, my idea was to think, you know, Maynardville Elementary is kind of that school that, you know, it's been there for a long, long time, and people in Maynardville Elementary, they feel like they've been left out. I'll just be honest, some of them do, okay? So I thought, well, what could we do with Maynardville Elementary if we wanted to build a new Maynardville Elementary one day? I'm all about repurposing stuff. So what about turning Maynardville Elementary into a jail? Now, the way that I saw this, and again, I'm no expert at things like this, but I'm thinking, what else would you need in a jail? It's a block building. You've got classrooms you could possibly turn into cells. You've got a kitchen, you've got a dining room, you've got a gym for activity. I mean, to me, I'm thinking, well, hey, that might work. So we actually had a jail committee, and we invited a guy from the state to come in who basically goes to counties and talks to them about building jails and things like that. And we threw this idea out. And you know, he didn't totally shut it down, but he did talk that there would probably be a lot, hey man, come on in. There'd probably be a lot of work involved in doing this to get it up to the specs, because the way they were saying, like, you have to reinforce the walls, this, that, and the other, and all this stuff that, you know, I just didn't consider. Again, just an idea, just throwing something out there. But he did say that there could be a possibility of, if you picture Maynardville Elementary, y'all know where it is, where the playground is, Maynardville Elementary. Maybe constructing the jail part there, a new jail, because it's probably not going to be cost effective to remodel Maynardville Elementary. But still, Maynardville Elementary could become the justice center of the county. Because now a lot of counties aren't building just jails, they're building justice centers, which means that's your jail and your entire court system within that. So that takes the court system out of the courthouse and puts it into a justice center. So having the jail separate, but having the justice center in Maynardville Elementary. Because one thing that we're missing here in this jail is we really have nowhere to take the inmates to do like classes, rehabilitation classes, work studies, you know, educational programs like that. We just have nowhere. If you think the length of this courthouse, That's the jail, folks. It's in the basement. That's all we got. That's all the room we've got. We have nowhere for them to go. So that could be an option. You know, there again, just throwing ideas out down the road. That could be an option to do that. And then by that time, we may have the revenue up that we could possibly build another elementary school. I don't know. Again, just throwing it out there, okay? But I wanted to update everybody on kind of how that was working. So we've thrown that out there, and that's what we found out. So just kind of an update. Okay, so here's the part that I think everybody is the most interested in, okay? Sports fields and facilities here in the county, okay? We don't have a lot. And again, I thank you all for coming out and representing all these sports. We don't have a lot. But here's what I want to look at, and this is where I'm going to be quiet for a little while, and I need your all's input, because I can stand up here and talk all day long, but I need to know what people are thinking, okay? So 3 questions I want to look at here. What do we need? How many do we need? And where are we going to put them? Okay? So again, let's think of it like this. If the county union idea of turning the middle school into a community center, if that's just totally never going to be able to happen, we're not going to do that, what do we do next? So what would our next step be to try to get some more things in this county for kids to do, namely sports fields, okay? So I want everybody to think about that. And I know that everybody here is representing your own sport, whether it be soccer, football, basketball, baseball, whatever, but think of it as a whole, okay? What we need and where we can put it. So I'm going to be quiet, and I'm going to turn it over to you guys. Question number 1, what do we need?
Soccer fields.
Soccer fields, right. And you came in late, I was talking earlier, when I was the principal at Paulette, one of these ladies here called and asked for a spot to play soccer down there, and they just asked for the yard back there, and I thought that was so terrible that we're that.
Some of our kids are
We
practicing.
still use it now.
Still using it now? So when you all have games, I'm assuming you do them all at the middle school? Is that
On
is
one
that correct?
Saturday from start to finish.
Yeah. We started, game started this year at 9, we leave about 5.
So 9, on a Saturday, you just get it all?
And we have like 4 or 5 games going at the same time in age brackets, so we have to be able to.
Okay, and just wishful thinking here, if you could say, you know what, 3 fields would help us, what would be your ideal, I guess, to think, what would you need for this program to be successful? And how many fields, let's just say?
2 would be enough.
2 would be enough.
So 2 fields
2
would-
would be an upgrade.
2 would, but basically
That would be a
fix your all's
massive
problem,
upgrade.
right? Okay, would that allow you guys to have enough fields for practice and games and everything, 2 fields?
I
you
think 3 would probably work the best, because we have 26 teams.
Yeah,
247 kids.
yeah, when you talk about practices and stuff too, yeah, 3 would be more sufficient to give everybody room to practice.
Okay, and what's the size of a soccer field? Like, is it, do you,
60 by 100.
okay. So 3 fields, what you guys?
Well, the middle school one's 50, a true soccer field is supposed to be 60 wide,
Okay,
but what we plan on now is 50.
Y'all.
60 wide and 100 long
okay.
is what a true soccer field is supposed to be.
So let's say that we had 3 fields that could double for soccer and football. I mean, that would work, right? So if we, now Blake, you chime in on this for football. Let's say if we're able to do 3 fields somewhere and split soccer and football, would that be
I would
good
think
for
that
your
if we
club?
would have enough room for one consolidated field that holds concessions, bleachers, scoreboard, the fenced-in area, that way you have your bulk majority of your upper level games played on it. The football side of things, it'd be nice to be able to stretch, one team per half field
Right.
as far as practice is concerned. So I mean, if you had like, say, 2 practice fields and one, what you call your game field, where like I said, the upper level ones that you are going to use the entire field, then yeah, 3 fields would be substantial.
Okay.
The 2 extra fields would be great for, if you did host your weekend tournaments, bring more revenue, more people into the county. Especially up front, because if you go to decking out 2 different fields or 3 different fields, I mean, there's gonna be more money in the scoreboards and all the electrical and
Right.
the maintenance.
The 3 combined fields.
3 combined fields, as long as you got one field that's, like I said, bleachers, fence. I mean, the other two fields, you can get, roll-around bleachers that you store in the off-season. But our seasons, that's the thing with football and soccer, our seasons don't overlap. Not unless they run a fall league. If they did run a fall league,
We've been asked a lot about fall league.
which would be fine with a fall league if we had those three fields. The only thing that runs into, but it shouldn't affect Saturday gameplay because all our games would be in the afternoons.
So, like, would you be able to start a fall league now?
Right
Would
now?
it be-
Yeah,
it'd be a nightmare, right?
There's
We got
no
6
way.
weeks. We got 6 weeks, that's the whole season, is 6 weeks. To fit between all the other sports,
Right.
we get a 6 week.
Well, we have 8 weeks of practice and 6
6
weeks
weeks
of
of
games.
6 weeks again.
Okay.
Because we've got to be out of the middle school.
Gotcha. Now, let me ask this, okay? Now, when I talk to people about things like this, I guess everybody's mindset is I guess the ideal thing would be everything would be right here in Maynville, right here on the main road. Well, what if would you object? Well, just hear me out here. If we were able to spread these out across the county, I mean, there's no way we could put everything right here. But if we had land in Luttrell, land in Big Ridge, somewhere to put these fields, I mean, what about that? What do you think?
Well, what we ran into, Sheriff's Chapel has a great field over there, but right beside the school, I mean, and a concession, building there,
Yeah.
everything. When we tell our parents, well, we've asked this a couple years ago, if we moved to Sheriff's Chapel, would you be willing to drive over there? No,
It's a no.
we're not playing. We
We-
can't do it, it's, 20 minutes over
Driving
there, 20 minutes back.
all that for practice is even stretch for some people.
And and here's the way I think about that. Like if you.
Yeah, well then, I mean, when we started out with 28 people, and then the next year we were up to 70, and we were running into field problems.
Yeah.
We asked, and we were like, no, so we were back down to like 30 kids.
Right.
So,
And the way I see that, like, I guess I think of it, if I go to Knox County, which he doesn't, but let's say if my son played in Knox County, not everything's in halls. Not everything's out, it's all over the
Oh, we
place,
put
I
those
mean,
in
you may
green.
have to go to
Not
Bearden,
everywhere.
you may have to go to Gibbs, you may have to go here, there, they're spread out too. But I get it because I've heard the exact same thing, we're not driving to Chapel, we're not driving to Luttrell, whatever. But when the rubber hits the road, if that's what the county can do and get it going, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's better than nothing, that's the way I look at it too.
You'll have your lawyer,
Yeah,
your
the
fans
practice
in
is
place.
done, yeah.
Sure, yeah.
If you could, if the practice field kind of, you say Luttrell Park, nice park over there.
Yeah.
The outfield of the baseball field, perfect place to practice, say you have just some soccer teams scheduled there. But as far as being game day, given us, now, soccer is pretty much in county. Baseball brings in some outside county, basketball's in county. As far as from the county standpoint, you want to see it somewhere, not necessarily on the main highway, but you'd want it within red light to Maple Ridge, just for the simple fact of the tax revenue. When they leave my games, they're going to stop at this gas station, they're going to stop at Little Joe's,
Sure.
Pete's.
More options over here, obviously, to do
Just-
things like that.
Yeah, whereas if, say you took the industrial park over at Luttrell, all kinds of land over there. But once they leave my place, they're gonna be so far away from wherever they're at, first place they're gonna hit is Knox.
Yeah. I get it.
I'm just saying, but it's not like, it's not a standout, like, you
Well, it's
don't.
not a standout by design.
Right,
I live in Plainview, by design,
Yeah.
we control our development.
yeah, and and Friends Market, that's my favorite place to
Right.
eat lunch and, Rama's Pizza, but as far as most people, if they don't see a bright lit sign or a lot of cars sitting there, they're not gonna stop.
Well, you're right too. For your big game, I think the expectation would be that it would be central at Lufkin.
And not to mention, most of our, especially in the rec leagues, all have older siblings that practice middle school ball here or high school ball. So you got parents pulling double duty. Well, as soon as I pick them up, we gotta go to your little brother's practice. And just while they're in.
Oh, yeah, I
while
totally
they're
get
in
it.
town.
But there again, they're not making new land.
That-
They
that
think about
is-
it, so where,
That is,
that's what you run into.
the only thing I have found, and I've done searching and I pulled the GLS viewer, everything up, and I found a piece of property that was sold at tax sale. The county didn't know it, but they own the adjoining property, and it's on River Drive.
Right, you talked to me about that.
Yeah, and so, I mean, that's the only, but now acreage wise, it's not enough to hold 3 fields. It's not enough to put 2 more baseball fields on, but it's big enough to take care of half of it, to do a football/soccer field with the added practice space. And then it's already got the bulk majority of a concrete pad, in essence, to build a gymnasium. Gymnasium to cover, basketball and hopefully bring back youth wrestling. Because I don't know if anybody knows it, youth wrestling has, not unless James gets back involved this year, for 2 years now, has been in Clinton. So.
Okay, well, moving on to another sport, talk to us about basketball. I know you've got a huge league going on, so like, do you use all the, like, let's say Maynardville?
We used every school last year except for Maynardville.
Okay.
It was not open.
Okay. And that, is that every Saturday just about, I mean, or do you have one central?
We play games on Saturday from, what was ours, from 9 o'clock midnight, 9 to about, we get about 8:30 at night, something like that.
And they're all housed in one location, though, when you do the game on Saturday,
We all
right?
we played them all at Hall X for the first year because we had some issues with adults, so they graciously let us in
Right.
on Saturdays there.
And we practiced, I think some of our coaches practiced in every gym.
Right, everything.
Every year, good maintenance.
So let's say, just wishful thinking here, what would it take to sustain your all's program, gym-wise?
Well, we had an hour practice at night. How many teams we have? 20 teams. So most kids get out of school, parents get home around 4:30 or 5, so we schedule practice before 5 to 8.
Most were 6 to 8. There were a couple of teams that practiced at 5,
Right.
not many. And most of them shared a court. There was very few coaches that got a full court.
Yeah, we always practice on that.
Okay.
Well, the middle school basically
You can turn
has
into
2
2
full
courts.
court
Correct.
gyms.
Yeah,
And something
yeah,
like
Or
that.
4 high court gyms.
That's
If you had
right.
something like that, you could get out and practice.
Yeah.
So let's say this, if we're able to do this, would that one gym, I mean, the size of it, I mean, would that be able to take care of a lot of your all's issues as far as practices and things like that? You
Yeah,
think?
that would take care of a lot.
Probably would, okay.
I think it would take care of the bulk majority. The only thing, I mean, we're looking, right now, you're looking at rec sports, but once you open this thing up as a community center, then you're gonna have general public.
Right.
You're gonna have the guys that didn't have anywhere to play pickup games. Would wanna come, rent a ball.
We could, but we would start this with the understanding that our preference is the kids, the youth sports in the, that would be 100% what I would do.
And then like, you're gonna have an after school, a lot of after school kids that are gonna come down
Yeah.
and come through.
Maynardville Elementary, that Maynardville Elementary Park,
All the
that's
time.
pick up
That is.
from 4:30 till dark.
It is.
They usually have headlights on out there playing too,
They
so.
do.
And you can go by there and you can tell by the trash that's left, the benches that
Yes,
are bent, the
yes,
chains that are gone.
absolutely.
So I mean, it's,
Yeah,
yeah,
so they need a place.
they do.
They do.
And that's structured, that somebody can say, hey, that don't go on here. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
That way we can actually maintain the schools.
So,
Maynardville Elementary playground.
That's what we're talking about.
oh, I know, oh, absolutely, yeah.
It's tore up.
Basically,
Well, I've got questions before we get
oh, okay, all right.
It would be fantastic to have the fields and all this stuff. Here's my first big thing. Who's gonna manage it?
Right.
Are we
Well,
gonna have a Parks and Rec group, or how's that gonna happen?
Again, the way that I'm seeing this is there would be a director over the community center that would schedule all the games, all the courts, all the fields, keep everything scheduled. It would be a county employee that would be there to do it. You'd have to have a director to do all that.
Yes.
So, yeah, that would be my plans for that.
And then you have to have, who's gonna maintain all the fields outside and all that
Oh,
stuff.
yeah, and, I know, and it's a lot of planning, but, you know, you gotta start somewhere.
Oh,
But of
yeah,
course,
I
you know,
totally understand.
even now, I mean, you know, with the county maintenance department, you know, we have 2 full-time maintenance people. I mean, if we need to increase that, you know, I mean, that's, you know, that's something we would, I know we would, but that's something you would just have to do, you know, just have to find the money to do it, so.
And when that happens, is the county going to take over and run all the sports leagues? Because at that, here's my personal opinion, at that point, the volunteers need to step aside, because it needs to be a county-ran activity for everybody. Your volunteers need to go away.
He's right, it's almost impossible to do both. I watched it in Knox County, they tried that, and it did not work to have both systems go.
Right. And to be honest, Josh, I hadn't thought about that. Just to be honest, I mean, the way I was looking at it is the county would provide a space, you know, we would do the scheduling to keep it there, and then the club still run the
Yeah, see,
that stuff, you know what I'm saying?
I
So,
think it would be hard that way.
yeah.
The clubs can work with the coaches because I've seen that work well, but it gets into, somebody's gotta make a final decision.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly, because you're gonna have to have somebody, you're gonna have a Parks and Rec, you'd have to have a Park and Rec group, and then they have to handle sign-ups and everything else. Your volunteer system that all of our leagues have now needs to go away.
I don't think that would be a problem,
Yeah.
the volunteer system, you know, still being in place. I see that the director would maintain, schedule the fields, you know, soccer would have to book the field for, you know, this amount of time, and then we would, you know, just do as we do now at the middle school.
The only thing I would see is maybe if you had, and if the county was still allocating funds, say, you know, this goes through, and you still allocated funds to these programs, one, monitoring funding, where everything was going, checking, you know, crossing the X's, making sure the O's are there. But you would need somebody in place in case one of the volunteers said, hey, you know what? I've done my part. I don't have anybody that I can personally say, hey, take this, see what you can do with it, let it revert to a overall director, and then, you know, then you have accountability everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. I mean, it's, you know, again, if this is something we can pull off, I think something like that would be kind of the, I shouldn't say afterthought, but say if we could be able to get this building and these fields and get a new school, then it's something I think we could sit down and figure out, you know what I mean? Something that, you know, we could get to. But Josh, I thank you for that, because I just hadn't thought about it like that. Like I said, I see it as the county provides the space, we schedule it, and then you guys still do it. You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate that, because I just hadn't thought about it in that sense, I guess.
Providing
So-
space would be huge for the basketball.
Right, yeah. That's
I understand where you're coming from, but you got a field to play on.
Yeah, but it's still a school field.
Yeah, but we get principals that
You have no
come tell us, hey, you
scheduling
can't come to our,
Do what?
You have no scheduling conflicts on that game.
Well, I agree.
you see what I'm saying?
I agree there. We're lucky in that aspect. I will totally agree.
Yeah, sure.
I totally agree. Because that is, well, it's a baseball field.
And it's too short for anybody else to
Yeah.
play on.
So,
Could use some better grass.
and we've worked
You just need a yard.
We just need grass.
You just
I
need a
mean, we
yard,
could use
yeah.
and all the other schools
Really,
have
we
worked
get-
with us
get
too.
some
All the
kids
other principals work
practicing
with
people's
us. We
backyards.
practice on the baseball field at Luster. We practice at Paulette. So yeah, yes, I understand the aspect. We've got a field that we can call home.
Right.
Even though
But that's
it's
the
a-
biggest
Oh, I
issue.
know, I know you are. And
I don't have to have a field or a gymnasium to call my own. Dad run this youth basketball when I was a kid, and every one of the schools and principals got together and said, here, you can do this for the kids. It's not like that no more.
Nope. Well,
And I understand that stuff gets tore up, but I mean, and we do our best to fix it and not let that happen, but stuff happens, Gov. We're dealing with a different era than when even I was a kid, or Casey was a kid, or Benji was a kid. It just, kids don't listen as good as they used to. So, I mean, it is what it is at this point.
and going back to, like, you guys were having trouble with parents didn't want to travel. We travel, heck, we're traveling out of state to play. We actually schedule we play Middlesboro, Kentucky,
But how long's baseball been here in Union County?
so.
You know, how long's football been here in Union County? Well, now we're starting soccer, and this year, the middle school had their very first boys soccer league. What we are is a feeder program.
Right.
Every one of us in here played sports, but what sport we ended up playing, it's not the sport we ended up starting with. And we're just trying to give these kids a place to do something.
Yeah.
And I know, like, up there at the football field, we have to practice over in the band section. We got a little bitty corner. Best thing I can get my kids to do for, like, my goalies when there's nothing else to do is kick the ball against the wall. Use that. We're getting kicked off. We had to skip a whole Saturday. We're doing a makeup game on Tuesday because the boys started a soccer league and they're going to take up that field.
Right.
I mean, we have that one little spot.
Yeah.
Other than that, we have to find somebody's
I
backyard.
totally
We have to find-
understand. I get it, and that's the thing.
But
it's
see,
like,
but my
you know,
question is why aren't the other schools kind of opening up to help us out?
Right.
Because if they go to high school and play football, they go to high school and play baseball, they go to high school and play soccer, they go to high school and play tennis, basketball, they gotta have something to do during the springtime.
Yeah, and like you said, you're
You know what I
kind
mean?
of the feeder program.
Right.
And I know soccer's probably the newest
It is,
sport
as far as
that
I
we have,
know.
you know, around, and I totally get that.
Well,
Yeah.
then there's these big fields that we just can't use, like the practice field for the high school football. It's a giant piece of ground that sits there, and we can't use it just in case they want to use it for practice. That's crap. Used. Why can't we use it? It makes no sense to me. I don't understand that.
I know, and totally get it. And I honestly, I see both sides of it, and let me explain why. But I was a principal, okay? And the way I looked at it is that's, and this may sound awful, and I don't mean it to be, but this is the way I looked at it, is that facility was for my school. And if my kids needed it first, then they deserve to get it first. And that's the way I looked at it. But there again, on the other side of that coin, where else are all the other kids going to go? You know, and we would of course try to open it up too, but I guess I kind of see that's what the schools look at it. You know, it's their facility for their sports, for their kids. They want to serve them first. You know, and again, is it right? Is it wrong? I don't know. But that's
They're
just
not
kind of the way
using it,
it
they're
looks.
not serving anybody.
I know,
It's
I
just
get
a waste
that.
of space.
I get that. That's why I want to go toward, you know, go in the direction that the county can have something that, you know, we don't have to always use the school's facilities. Because I get it. I mean, the school shouldn't have to provide the general public somewhere to go play ball. I mean, and that's why I just see that, and that's why I want to try to get to a position where the county can provide that, you know?
On Josh's point, Gibbs for years, the Ruritan Club ran that facility.
That park down there,
Yes,
yeah.
and did an excellent job.
Mhm.
What happened was, after many, many years, a lot of their members retired, passed away, or whatever, and so Knox County eventually took over, I understand, control of the park, just very recently, actually.
Yeah.
So that is one thing to consider. If you've got a group, even if it's a nonprofit that is
To run it.
vibrant and can run it, that's
Right.
good.
And I'm getting to that. That's gonna be my next slide to talk about.
You know, I remember being here when the Eckler's were very involved in the Georges and all, and things were going really well, and then that generation got a little older, and some of the kids went elsewhere, and
Sure.
so then we had to start again, you know?
Right. And I know, and I'm not blowing smoke, I'm being truthful. If it wasn't for you folks that step up and do this, what would our kids have to do?
Absolutely.
Nothing, and I appreciate y'all for that. Going back to baseball, Josh, if, let's say you've got the Little League field that you have now, the county union goes through and you have that other baseball field. Would that be enough to support your program, 2 fields?
Probably, honestly, we could get enough practices for everybody on 2 fields.
If you had 2 fields right there.
And we could spread games out.
So the way I'm seeing it right now, if the county union comes to fruition, to help your program out, you could probably run it all right there in that gym. 2 baseball fields will help you. Of course, you all would have the 1 field, you know, but if we could find you 1 or better 2 fields somewhere,
But we
that
have
would,
Sharps Chapel, we have 6 teams in Sharps Chapel,
okay,
out of just Sharps Chapel kids. So they, you know, they'll be using that field.
That- right,
So, you know,
right.
we can work with 1 field.
okay, that's it.
What's the baseball field that Luttrell used for?
We use it for practices.
Just,
and
okay, so it is used.
As far as I know, I worked that out with Stacy over there. All the principals have been great, working with me on scheduling and stuff. So I can't complain about that.
Right. No, I get it. So we got soccer, football, baseball, basketball, Am I missing anything? Benji, I know you're with youth, with the, basketball, I'm sorry. What did you say?
Wrestling.
Wrestling. Well, I mean, that would be,
That'd be with the gym.
The gym,
You
so.
probably, but wrestling's the same season as basketball.
well, now, I mean, there again, we would have a huge building that maybe
Yeah.
we could find somewhere else to put it, you know,
Yeah.
in somewhere, I don't know, but just throwing that out there. All right, before I go to the, well, let's see, what do we need? I think we've established that, on how many we need. So it looks like County Union would take care of basketball and baseball. Soccer and football, you'd have one field that would be totally your all's, but two more fields would be ideal. And then you think 3 fields total, you all would be where you need to be, right? That would be amazing.
Like Blake said, they, one field for games, and then the other 2 just for practice areas. I
Right,
mean, not
okay.
line, just flat ground.
Just a flat field
With
somewhere to
grass.
go practice that you could line, right? Okay.
Jason,
Yes, sir.
I don't know what's back behind the back there, but I know the school system owns property on that area. And I don't know if that's something that maybe a bill could be added. I don't know the way of the property, I don't know anything about
Right. And the way that works, folks, you've got the middle school football field, the middle school, the Little League field. That's all school system property. And like Jimmy said, going up to the top, back up there, that's school system too. But I think I don't even know, it's so steep up there. Yes, sir, go ahead.
Who owns the property behind Wilson Park?
We do.
That's the thing, that's the county.
And I'm getting there.
But
I walked back there and looked, dude, and you could put
you got the property, the only issue
seven
you have with that, and because I've done the
the
same.
drainage.
Well, you've got T-decking.
It's a
It's a
wetland.
wetland area,
Yeah.
and yes, you can build stuff, but once you get anything, if you say wetlands or anything like that, it's gonna cost you more to
It's a
develop it
wetland.
the right way
Right.
and without fines than it is to find a piece of property on the side of the hill and move 3,000 loads of dirt.
Yeah, and we ran into that too, right in front of Holland Elementary. There's that big ditch right there, and it grows up all the time, and people are like, why didn't y'all fill that in? It's wetland, you can't touch it. So when we were building that school, we wanted to dump the excess dirt there and build it up. Oh no, T-Deck,
Salamanders.
oh yeah, Tennessee Department of Environmental Control, they step in and they say, oh no, you can't touch it.
And that's.
So you have some of that down there, but I'm glad you brought that up because Wilson Park's a huge area. You know, everybody just thinks it's that one spot, you know, when you walk in there where the gazebo and all that, but it goes way back in there. Of course, it's very wooded. I mean, it would take,
That's
some
what I was
clear
talking
down.
about. I thought that-
But even heck, if we could fit 2 fields back there, you know, the county union comes to be, 2 practice fields back there, I mean, that would take care of you all. I mean, it really would,
Well-
you know?
Once you get past the high school football field, beyond it, and then the wood line there, at the bottom of that wood line, that's a perfect place for a stadium. The grade is perfect for
Yep.
the bleachers on one side, and then it flattens out. I don't know how far the creek line is back there.
Yeah.
And the access point, you could create an access point you could drive to. So that way you got access from Shell Station, you would have access from Durham Drive.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's a possibility, you know, but to me, I just feel so strongly that if the county union would come to be, I'm telling you, it would solve 80% of our problems. I really think it would. And I mean, and then we get that going, like you said, add 2 more fields, soccer's taken care of, baseball's taken care of, basketball's taken care of. Our kids finally have somewhere to go. Not only that, but our kids get a brand new school. And our county gets a catch-all for everything, office space where we could move things around. I just think it would just be the best thing that ever happened. I just really do. I feel strongly about that. But, getting to that point, all right, have we answered all of our questions? What do we need? Yes. How many do we need? Where are we going to put them? Okay? So, hear me out on this. Okay? I know this is brought up, electrical industrial park. Again, hear me out. Just an idea, folks. Don't throw anything at me. Just an idea, okay? Electrical industrial park was purchased several years ago. Marilyn, do you remember who the mayor was then? Was it Gerald Simmons, maybe?
Yeah, I think it was.
Well, that's 20 years
It
ago.
was right at the beginning, Von Richard, it was either
Okay.
between Von or Gerald, and it may have been when Von was there.
Okay.
Because I think, yeah, they were all purchased under Von, weren't they? Yeah.
by the time this loads. I'll let this load. Okay, so you've got Luttrell Industrial Park. It's an area of the county owns, okay? We own that property over there. It's a big piece of property, okay? It needs some work. There is some areas that needs cleared out. But, you know, at the end of the day, we own that property. That's property that we can do stuff with, okay? Now, just thinking about this, I know Maryland had said sometimes there's other clubs or whatever that will come in and run sports facilities, okay? And I don't know if this would even be an issue, something that you could look at, but maybe, I don't know, a third party or something, somebody coming in that we could say, hey, we've got the land to develop for sports complexes and stuff for somebody outside to run it. I don't know. There again, just throwing out ideas, okay?
Oh, yeah,
So-
that's exactly what Sevierville did.
Oh, yeah, they put in that
Sevierville
big
and-
park or whatever,
Yes,
yeah.
they put in those big facilities and
Right.
they had a third party come.
Right. So, you know, talk about Wilson.
That's also close to everything.
Oh, I know, he was asking, you know.
Close to everything, so.
Okay, now, let me show you what this looks like, and it's good to be able to see this from an aerial view here. All right, so there's one business in Luttrell Industrial Park, okay? Right here it is. Okay, this building right here, it's like a scrap yard or something like that. Buckeyes, I think is the name of it, okay? So, let me show you where we are so everybody understands, okay? Right here's Tazewell Pike, here's Luttrell Elementary. Okay, this is Park Road, which runs right down next to the Luttrell City Hall, Luttrell Library. You go around through here, here's Luttrell Park, okay? Starting right here, the county owns all of this land, which goes all the way back. We own all this, we own this, which goes back to Coreyton Luttrell Road, and right over here is the railroad track, okay? Now, when I was running for office, I was thinking, you know what? We've got an industrial park over there that has a railroad through it. I mean, what else would you ask for? But researching that and thinking about it, to move that railroad track to get it to where it would be accessible to that park and for businesses, we can't even touch it. We're talking millions of dollars, so scrap that. But we've had a couple of bites here on Luttrell Industrial Park, a couple of companies that want to come in, and when we show them the property, everybody always likes over here at the end because that's the most level part of it. It's cleared off already. But think about this, folks. I mean, there again, County Union, I think, would solve the majority of it. But look at this. There's a lot of land over there that maybe, you know, eventually we could clear off and put some fields over there. And again, for soccer. And okay, here's my thing again. I know people don't like to drive. People may say, well, I don't want to drive to Luttrell to go over there. But folks, from here, it's a 10-minute drive. 10 to 15-minute drive.
6 miles.
There you go. To go over there and have ample space and more fields for our kids to play. I don't think that would be much to ask for folks to do. If they truly wanted to play and they were that dedicated, why not drive to Luttrell? Big deal. I mean, that's just the way I look at it. 10, 15-minute drive, you're in Luttrell, okay? So that's kind of something I've been throwing around. Again, is this going to happen overnight? Absolutely not. But if we've had this for over 20 years and it's sitting there doing nothing, and we have one business over there, we own it. Why not use it? Why not do something with it? That's just the way I feel about it. So, you know, it may take, I don't know, looking at our budget. I don't know if it'll happen this year, but looking at our budget, when we have some bills paid off and look at this, what could we do if we cleared that out, did a little grade work, sowed some grass, striped the field? You've got a soccer field, you've got a football field. You might have a baseball field over there, who knows? I mean, just saying, okay? So, what do y'all think? I mean, I want some input here. What do you think? What do you guys think about that? Talk to me. Yay, nay, I don't care.
We had a great
I just wanna know.
turnout for basketball.
What'd you say?
We had a great turnout for basketball when we had to use the local gym. Nobody complained about them, just happy to play.
They just happy to have a place, right?
Well, county folks won't have an issue with it, but if you want to bring tournaments in, that's not the place to do it, I don't think.
Yeah.
Castle Pike is just a quick drive.
Yes.
Yes, but you're back in other counties by the time you're eating somewhere.
But let me tell you, Luttrell has a heritage of sports complexes as far as baseball and softball. Jimmy, you'll remember this. We used to have 1,000 people show up on Saturday or more for at Luttrell. And they would run those tournaments, and they'd run them like Saturday and Sunday, Friday night, Saturday and Sunday, and then they come back with the winners the next week.
But now the ball fields at the railroad station, that's Knox County, right?
The ball fields at the railroad station.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the ball field at Luttrell School.
I'm talking about, what I'm trying, where Corrington Luttrell Road comes in. You cross the railroad tracks, old rail station sits right there, that somebody turned into a
That's
house
Knox
or what have you.
That's Knox County.
That's Knox County
Yeah,
there,
but
right?
that's
Yeah.
not where he's talking about.
I know exactly where he's talking about, I'm just trying to, there's nothing,
Yeah.
I'm with John, just as far as the county sports, soccer, and I mean, if even football will play there, football will do their best to hold games there. I don't see anything coming to the county on the back end.
You mean,
And that's what I'm,
As far as the
yeah.
tax revenue, because
Okay.
like, whenever, if we had a Bible space, I would host a 2-day tournament. I would bring in over 30 teams. If I had Bible space with all permission to let me use it, and then, you know, we would host 2 days, once a year, we'd host a 2-day tournament.
so would that be one field, like one field to host that tournament?
Yeah, you just have
So-
games
so let me
from
say
9
this.
o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night.
If this field, the county union field, would be your field for that, then this could be the practice field and just places, additional places to play.
Yeah,
That would work, right?
it
It
would,
would still give your kids somewhere to go and play ball and have a space.
it would.
Right. Okay.
But I mean, as far as that kind of land, you go over here on Hickory Valley and get that kind of land right there.
I know, but we gotta pay for it. See, this, we own
They
it.
own it.
We own this, you know, so that's just that much more money you don't have to put in the land.
And you've already got a road coming from Tazewell Pike into it.
Yeah. Yeah, right,
And
you
the
can see
road
it.
coming off of Fortune Road into it.
Right,
And you also from Granger County.
And
with
yes.
access.
yeah.
Yeah. I know when Luttrell used to host them, they pulled from 5 counties to host those ball games.
I think another point too is when you have stuff like that, you'll probably see
Yeah.
what you're talking, start popping.
It would
up.
start growing.
Yeah.
Like you would see some businesses start popping up over there.
It would be a good thing.
If Plainview would let them in.
You will let them in.
You'll let them in?
We
Hey,
have-
you just said you control your
We
development.
do control our development, but we.
You let them in for this,
now-
right?
Right now, we have a Dollar General store going in, and
Yep.
there will be 4 more pieces of property developed within the year, probably.
Awesome, very good. And yeah, I think Jimmy's right on that too. You know, you say if you build it, they will come, and I truly believe that. If it goes in over there, I think places will pop up, you
Just
know,
on
and
the-
capitalize on that.
On
so.
the east side, the only complaint or negative, other than the tax revenue on the back end, is the parents with multiple children. Because they're gonna be hard pressed to pick their son up, on, say, football side, 6 o'clock from the football field, 5:45, get to the practice in Luttrell
Yeah.
at 6, then turn around and drive back to Maynardville, where they actually live,
Yeah.
eat and all, I mean, it's,
Oh, I know, I
you're
get
gonna
it.
have hard pressed people wherever you do this. I just think closer to the center.
Like, I can
Where you
tell
can't
this.
satisfy
The
all.
Luttrell Lions was the first youth football in Union County.
Yeah.
And it was located on Luttrell Elementary School property. And people came from all over the county. And it lasted until the people got too old and were in charge of it.
Oh, when my children were growing up, my 2 boys, there was nothing in Union County. And we took ours, the host of Jill Howard,
Yeah.
about 25 miles over there
Yeah.
and 25
Well,
miles.
Luttrell Lions used to have to play at John Tarleton, all the way down, you know, to
Yeah,
Sutherland.
when they-
So if the children really wants to play and the
The parents
parents
will do
really wants to get involved, they'll get them there.
Right.
Yep.
The only thing I see, like, if you do have those parents that are centrally located, and they, like you said, people think that's a hall over there. Instead of them driving to Luttrell, they want to drive to Halls. Just saying.
And you're right, I mean, you'll have some that will, some that
Well,
won't,
maybe
just like it
they'll
is now,
stop
so.
at Rails or down at Pieces.
Well, I'll say this, Food City went a long way to change the traffic patterns of where Plainview and Luttrell shop.
Yeah.
I think a youth sports summer program, part of the program over there could change the way we do.
To bring it back.
Yes.
And going back to my comment earlier about the volunteer model going away, I'm not talking about coaches. I'm not talking about volunteer coaches. I'm talking about basically your board structure will go away. Because like, I don't know how basketball is or football, but like, we've got a board, we've got a Little League board. That Little League board will go away because it will now be ran by the county.
Well, and it may be that there's a board of directors for that community center, you know, that govern that type of thing, you know.
And that's what I'm saying, it would have to be.
Yeah.
But I'm not going away from the volunteer coaches. Your coaches are still going to be
Oh,
volunteer.
yeah. But the way I see it,
Your
if we
board
can,
prospects are going to be gone.
yeah, if we can make this happen, that's something I think we can figure out, you know, in the long run. So again, going back, and I promised you all I'd get you out of here, it's 5 after 8. But going back, there again, I want to say that I'm very passionate about the county union. Again, I think that take care of a lot of it, take care of basketball, take care of baseball, take care of soccer and football, with the addition of trying to find 2 fields, and that could be the possibility for your other fields right there. But again, I know it's intellectual, but we own the property. That's the thing that I just can't escape from. The county owns
There's
it.
grants,
We
there's
just-
grants out there that if you
Oh,
have the
sure,
land, they'll
absolutely.
build it
Yeah.
for you.
Yes, and like I said, you know, we're getting to a point that we're paying off our debt in this county. You know, we have very little debt. You know, there's going to be some money hopefully available to do some things like this. You know, we're getting to that point. So, but
Real quick, wasn't there last year, wasn't some county commissioners going to actually tour?
actually selling this property at one time. I know that
There
was
was a thought about
okay.
that.
Yeah.
But they did, some did go tour it.
Yeah.
Well, maybe, that was probably during all those parks and rec meetings that we went to.
It was during.
I think it was during that process.
Yeah, and then come to find out overall it was $225,000 grant or something, or $250,000.
That, yeah, the
10%
one you're
we paid.
talking about.
Yeah, so, yeah, even though all the surveys pointed towards youth, the funding was better suited to update than.
There wasn't enough money to do that large scale of development.
Yeah, but then that's when all that was being brought up, was what about the place here?
Well, I do know this, in April, that group that did the surveys came and made a presentation. And then this was April of 2018, yes. And then the commission then talked about it one more time. And I do know some Commissioner Swindon looked at it, because that was Commissioner Smith with Luttrell. And then after that, as far as I know, it kind of settled down, and they were waiting for the mayor to come in and to talk about whatever direction.
And, you know, to me, instead of selling this and having just a one-time money to put in our general fund, if we could turn around and use this to the benefit of our county, I just think that makes more sense than to try to
And I
sell
don't
it.
think the prior administration ever really wanted to sell it, but I do think that it seemed to be the commission and the mayor wanted it used.
Yeah.
They wanted it. So
I just hate that it's sitting over there, and it's just, you know, it's sitting over there growing up, when it could be.
I think if they want to play, they'll come to it.
I agree, Jennifer, I do, you know, I mean, that's the way I see it, and if,
Right there,
you know,
Well, I'll tell you, this is not any study or anything.
yeah.
But personally, my opinion, as well as just talking to people in the area, who wants to go into an industrial park? And I actually had a couple of business people say this. Who wants to go into an industrial park that has 4 tractor trailers that are dilapidated sitting in the entrance to the park?
That's my.
You know what?
Does he own that corner lot there?
I don't know who has that,
But people go up there and play soccer all day long.
They will go
You know,
play soccer
they'll
all
go
day
play soccer all day
long.
long.
But the business people that have commented to me, that is what it
Well,
said.
like I said, it's been there for 20 years, we have
Yes.
one business in it. It may
Right.
be time to look at repurposing that
Right.
for something else, you know? So,
Yes, and the business that's there, to his credit, He has done some environmentally sound things as far as repurposing and
Yeah.
recycling, you know.
But you gotta think, that's his type of business. That's what he does, you know, and it is what it is, you know.
But that's not what the whole place is intended to be.
Right.
Well, let me ask you this, Jason, when you were running and going to talk to people, what was the was youth sports one of the biggest things that you?
100%, yes.
Okay, what about, and see, that tickles me, because when we had these parks and rec, and Blake went to some of these meetings, they laid these maps out on the tables of every park we had in the county.
Except ours.
And we go around, yeah. And they give people sticky notes to go around and put notes on these, and
Right.
people put what they thought they should do with property. A lot of these parks, even the Little League field, people were posting, knock it down, put business there. Which blows me away, because to me, people aren't thinking of the kids. And until we get rid of, now, all the people in this room, we are, because we're involved with it. And I'm just gonna say, thank you for volunteering. Thank you for stepping up to do it. I try to thank my volunteers as much as I can. But I don't know that the mindset is totally there. I think a lot of people would rather just see businesses come in.
It's getting there. I really think that the mindset is shifting. Business, absolutely 100% is important. And there again, our county is at a very pivotal point. And I think we are going in the right direction to grow and to get some industry in here too. But we can't forget about, our kids. And we gotta take care of our own.
But it just blew me away when I saw somebody just write flat out, knock it down and put a business here. I'm like,
yeah, and that's, you know, you're gonna have that anywhere, but I'm 100% honest.
And I understand, because that's prime real estate where Little League field is. That's prime real
I think that was.
You want to put us in the building?
No. And I understand that part of it. It's prime real estate. Little League field's right in the middle of town, right on the main highway, but still.
Well, the people, I know what you're talking about, people that I talked to that said, you know, do away with where the Little League is, it wasn't that they wanted it done away with permanently, the ones I talked to. They just wanted a change of venue because you said it, that's prime real estate.
It is.
And that was my concept. Whenever I first moved to this county and saw I was young, saw the high school on a stretch of 33 that God knows how many cars come through this county today. But
you know how that happened.
No, I don't know the backstory, and
The state came through and said, we're gonna change the road, and this is the way we're gonna build it. And in turn, we're gonna build you the football field over across Main Street. And then.
No, I'm talking about where the Little League field and stuff is. I'm talking about where the high school is, like why the high school was built.
Yeah,
like if it wasn't pushed back
yeah.
another football field just so that you still had the prime real estate.
Yes.
But no, and Josh, I don't think I wrote it that way.
Now going back to property, who owns the property
Like
on the other side of 61 here? When you're coming up 61 to the stop sign?
Across?
Yeah.
Clayton Hill.
Clayton Hills.
Okay.
And it's one big rock, I think, across there. But it is, I mean, it's still good property. I mean, you know, the location's great. I just think there's a lot of rock.
He's got 2 level sections built there.
Yeah.
We could have.
But again, we own Luttrell. We own Luttrell.
Hey, if you build it, I will go, but.
Hey, give me the money and I'll buy property all day long.
And see, that's the thing.
All day long.
Do you guys all have parents that complain about traveling these other fields?
Man, I got
This
two
football,
kids.
I know you've had it a couple times, like Vicarage and stuff.
Yeah, the only reason when we go to Paulette, just the scheduling, the only parents that I have complaints from are the parents that have the other siblings. Well, how am I going to get so-and-so if I've got to go so-and-so? And you know, the time aspect. Of course, the distance from Paulette to the high school is probably 3-minute difference from the middle school to Luttrell, I would think.
Right.
So I mean, it's more of a mindset than it is a. I mean, our parents travel. We go.
Yeah.
Some of our games are Scott County.
Football travels too. That's
So-
what my parents, I think in my 5
It's
years running the
aimed
league,
at as opposed to a straight road.
I think in my 5 years running the league, I might have had one set of parents upset because they didn't realize they weren't practicing at the Little League field.
I believe our biggest problem is our parents, soccer's new, they're not familiar with the sport, so they're not excited about going to watch their kid play soccer because they have no idea what they're doing out there. So they're like, I'm not putting any extra effort into it. We'll sign you up for basketball. We'll sign you up for basketball, something we know about and that we'll be interested.
But I mean, for you all to have, what, 240 kids? I mean, that's, my goodness, that's a massive.
Well, and then like, they're talking about tournaments. We would love to do that with other counties.
We don't have tournaments, we have like tournament style game days.
Yeah, y'all have just, I mean, y'all just have just enough time to play your game.
They take that full field, and you put 2 pieces out the end, and that are 8 to 10, right, or 8 to 11s, do that section.
When
And
they
then
should
you
play
got
full
little
field anyway.
chopped up pieces in the middle for all the little kids to
I'm
play.
saying they should be at that age.
And then at the end, after, you know, all the older, or younger kids, which
Our
they
big
don't
kids
feel,
don't
let
even
the
get to
big
play
kids
full
play
field that
last.
they're supposed to even be playing. Because we can't go to the dirt.
Yeah, we can't touch the dirt. on
We
the
are not
baseball
touching the
field.
dirt.
And so that's the kind of like the biggest thing where like the parents don't understand and stuff. The others just, we don't have no place for them like that.
Yeah.
Nowhere.
Right, and that's, I get it. And there again, you know, you might have some complain, but the ones that truly want, you know, for their kids to play, they're gonna, if we can do this at level, they're gonna ride a level. You know,
Because if
have a place
they've
to
got an
play.
option to go either here or there, they want to choose the closest place. But if you build something huge, they're coming.
That's
If they want to play, they're coming.
I agree. Yeah, and it's 8:15, so I'm gonna stick to my promise, but folks, I mean, this is awesome. I mean, for us to be in one room talking about this, and you've got reps from every different area talking about this and being able to put it down on paper. I mean, truly think, if we can get these two ideas going, middle school converted into the community center, do something over at the Luttrell property, that solves the majority of our problems. I really think it would, you know? So,
With that being said, the county union, now that it's in talks, it's a great idea. Has anybody started looking at property for the new schools?
we've not, and Jimmy and I have talked about this, and this is just my humble opinion, and I'm not the director of schools, this is Jimmy's call. But my thing is, I wouldn't want the new school right on the main highway simply because of what you said.
Well, you can't, I mean, there's, and that's why the Little League field and this property that's gonna be coming up beside middle school is, there is very little 33 highway
Left.
left.
You know, and to me, number one, you take prime real estate off of your tax roll because the school system doesn't pay any taxes, so you can take that. Number two, look, you got 3 schools right here in a row. And if you ever try to go up Main Street at 3 o'clock, you're not getting through because of the car rider issue. You know, so my thing is, if it's the new middle school, people are gonna go to the new middle school no matter where it is. I mean, I would love to keep it,
You put it in Plainview.
well, you won't let us build anything over there.
Hey, we got in industrial park, which is very.
But my thing is, you would want your new middle school somewhere within the first district because it's still the center, because all these kids are coming from all the elementary schools around. So I think you still want it in this area. And me, just rolling things around again, just an idea, there's a lot of property over on Walker Ford. If you go down Walker Ford, that's still right here in the center, but there's a lot of open
Well, I
property
almost
over there.
built Paulette Walker Forward, you know?
But when they call Paulette, it was Walker Ford. But, and here's something we looked at too. Dr. Carter, and I totally get where he's coming from. The school system had to make a payment on that high school for 20 years. So no matter what they did, they had $500,000 coming out of their budget every year for 20
Yes, and
years.
for 10 years, teachers didn't get a salary increase.
I get it, because they had to pay for the building, okay? So, Jimmy and I were talking that maybe the school system, instead of making the yearly payments, gave us a big chunk of money up front. Let's just say they gave us $5-6 million, just throwing that out up front, to buy the 5 or 6. So to buy,
Like Maryland's.
go with me here, to buy the property, to do the site prep, to get it started, maybe build a couple of the fields or whatever. The county do the majority of it, and the county make the payment after that. And the school systems put in millions of dollars toward their project. I mean, that way they don't have to make a payment because they can't create revenue. We create revenue through taxes, and we make the payments. again, just throwing it out there. I mean, that would be a way I think the school system could contribute, you know?
No, I think they keep the payment because that keeps everybody on their toes with the school system.
Wait,
Right?
Hey, there's 2 board members, we need 2 more to make a vote, so.
I do want to say real quick, while Dr. Carter's sitting here, all of us involved in youth sports need to thank the schools because even if they didn't give us places to play, we wouldn't have anything at all. So yes, space is limited, but we got it. So thank you for working with us.
I think we all have the same philosophy, that our kids need some place to go. So when I give a ride with the principal, I tell them, our kids have no other place to go. If there was a community center or there was a place that our kids could go, I would say no.
Yeah, you could say no, yes.
But I mean, if there was a place other than a school, I'd say no. But I think that's the most important thing we can do, is have something for our kids to do. Because they're going to do something.
Absolutely. I agree, 100%. And again, I truly believe in my heart of hearts, if we can get this going, this is gonna take care of the majority of the problem, folks. That's just the way I see it. And you may be able to change my mind, and somebody may have an even better idea than me, but that's just the way I feel about it. So I think that will take care of a lot of it. But, it's 8:20 now, we'll get y'all out of here. Anything else before we go? And let me say, wonderful, wonderful discussion. This is amazing. I mean, we've really talked a lot. And here's what I want to challenge y'all to do, okay? Go out, talk to more people. You know, tell the folks within your leagues, in your community, tell them what we're thinking about. We'll get another meeting scheduled and get this going, okay? The more the community talks, the more you talk to your commissioners, your school board members, everybody involved, and get people on board with this, the easier it's going to be to get done. Just plain and simple. You all know that. That's just the way it works. So keep on keeping on. Get up there, keep talking, and let's see what we can do with this. And let me ask this. The next meeting, I was looking at, let's see, this is April. May is a crazy busy time for everybody. I'm thinking about doing another meeting for the beginning of June. That sound okay? Everybody come back, please. Bring somebody with you. Bring some more ideas, and we'll see what headway we've made. That sound all right?
Yeah.
All right. Yes, sir.
What's the key issue of, I know it's funding,
Right.
but adding the jail on to the middle school, have you got any cost projections for that?
I haven't even looked at that, Jeff, to be honest. I mean,
Would that be the determining factor?
No, he's talking about, that's a different project. He's talking about
You mean the
adding it
elementary
to elementary
The
school.
elementary
Yeah.
school.
To me, I was thinking concentrate on this one first, and then the jail would be the next project.
It
I
can't
mean,
be a
that's
huge
kind of the way
cost.
I look.
Because Sevier County, all it is a big red iron building.
Oh, what are you talking about, a detention center?
Yeah. Like, it's a jail, I mean,
I think Tazos is $12 million.
well, I'm saying, just in looking from the outside in, I don't know all the specifics of it, but the one in Sevier County is just a big, what they call a bullpen. That'd be right?
But
It's a,
see, I thought the same way you did.
That's not the same thing?
Well, until the guy from the state that comes in and can tell you what you can and can't do. You know, and that's what's
And
good.
that's what you're talking, the part of the facility you're talking about is different.
Yeah.
And you house long term.
And you can have a detention or a jail or a justice center, and that's the big difference.
And the other thing that we've got to have too is the youth justice center, our youth facility.
Juvenile.
Because we don't have a juvenile facility. So we house them other places and we bring.
I'd like to make one other comment. And I appreciate everybody coming tonight, especially related with sports. When you first start out, you gotta walk before you run. Sure. So take what you can get. I'm not saying that's gonna be all you're gonna get. We gotta start somewhere.
Absolutely, yeah. And I do, I think this is a good place to start, yeah.
And the reasoning is because of revenues in this county, we're a rural county, let's face it, you know, so.
Yeah. But we're getting to a spot where we're a good financial state. And right now, really, and it's nothing I've done. I've been in this office for 8 months. I've not done anything. But the prior administrations and the central finance and everything coming together, folks, we're in better shape financially in this county we've ever been. We've got a healthy fund balance, our school system's doing well. we're almost debt free. That's unheard of. I mean, we're doing really well. So I think it's time to jump and get some things going, so.
But we don't ever really want to be debt-free, because the last time we were debt-free, the state threatened to close the high school.
We'll buy
You
something.
know.
We'll get along, Marilyn, don't worry. But anyway, thank y'all for coming out. I appreciate it. Have a good night. I'll let you know when the next meeting is. Thank you very much.
Right, Jimmy, we don't really want to be debt-free.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's right.